There's the commitment possibly coming today. Carter Smith, an offensive lineman out of Ohio. There's a possibility there. Jacoby Spells, I think, is another name that is, it could be a really good week for Indiana, but Tim points out on YouTube that right now, Indiana's 622 commits average 3.33 stars. Now, stars are not everything. I grant you that, because we know all about All-Americans and that were 3 stars and that were developed, but you cannot average 3-star recruiting and compete in the Big Ten East. At the top, they have got to begin averaging 4-star. The recruiting has got to get better. And it is. And maybe it's just going to take a little bit longer, a little bit more sustained success. Maybe these kids that are not from around here are like, yeah, I'm still not quite sold. But it seems like the ones that come here get sold. Hoover's a perfect example. Kid comes from Texas. And he's like, bam, I got here and it was over, basically.
Well, and let me throw this out there. So if you look at the composite rankings from 24/7 Sports, and Tim's right on this 3.3, but I'm going to urge you to look at
or Rivals.
Well, I'm saying it includes ESPN, Rivals, and then the 247 Sports Network. Indiana right now has the 3rd highest rated class in the Big Ten based on that power ranking. So they're behind Ohio State and Penn State. So they're in good company. The fact that they don't have the quantity is hurting them, and the fact so don't look so much at the stars. Look at the overall rating. Look at where these kids rank based on their position. Look at where they rank overall.
Well, that's the quarterback is a perfect example. Hoover, he's a 3-star, and I'm like, I keep asking, how in the hell is this kid a 3-star? I mean, he's throwing for 3,500 yards, 36 touchdowns in Texas, but I'm watching him, and I'm like, man, how's that dude not at least a 4-star? I don't know. Maybe he's slow. Maybe he doesn't run fast. I don't know where the miss is, but it's not in his accuracy. It's not in his throwing. It's not in his poise. It was not in any of that I saw that matters. So I'm like going, okay, I don't know what I'm missing here, but man, I see a lot of good.
Right. And in some cases, it can boil down to even who's recruiting him. And I don't know. I'd have to look. But a lot of times, a
lot of mid-majors.
He had an Arkansas
offer, and then a lot of mid-majors, I'd say.
So that's probably why he has that 3-star rating. I mean, a lot of it has to do with talent, but a lot of it has to do as well with, if Alabama and USC and Ohio State are recruiting a kid, he's probably going to be a 4-star at the very least. And if you don't get some of those big name programs, that may not, a lot of these. There's a lot of players out there, so scouts have to depend a little bit on who's recruiting these players. So my guess is he might be the talent of a 4-star player or 5-star quarterback. But if he's not getting some of those offers, he could be a diamond in the rough. Like we said, Michael Penix was being recruited by places like Tennessee and Florida State, and he was still a 3-star guy. So, and obviously that's worked out really well for Indiana. So you never know, but like I said, that's why when I look at this more than the rating, I almost look at where the player is ranked nationally. I utilize all 3 sites because everybody's got a different opinion.
Especially a quarterback from Texas can get buried behind a ton of quarterbacks.
Yep, absolutely. You're not lying. And there's so many good players, not just the quarterbacks, but there's so many great players, running back, wide receiver, offensive lineman. It's easy to get knocked down and look like, you might be the 105th best player in Texas, but you might be, one of the top 300 players overall. That's just how talent rich that state is.
Yeah, and to land a quarterback from there, I'm trying to. Where was daggone it? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Before Peyton Ramsey, also transferred. No, before Nate Sudfeld, right? Or maybe it was after Nate Sudfeld. Right after Nate.
Richard Lago.
Wasn't he from Texas?
Yes, Plano,
Texas. So I was thinking, but he was a transfer though, wasn't he?
Yes, I can't remember where he transferred from, but
he was a JUCO quarterback.
Yeah. So big difference between getting a JUCO kid and a recruit.
Yeah.
Because a recruit generally has a lot more options, and a JUCO, they've already been through that process once. Now they've gone to a JUCO, and it's different. This is, I think that's if this kid did well, the best thing for Indiana is for Hoover down the road to become a great quarterback too, because then that will spread in Texas.
Yeah.
Just like Taiwan Mullen and all the other Florida guys that are doing so well at Indiana. Do you think that didn't spread like wildfire down there? Indiana is well known across the state of Florida now, Tom Allen and crew. Well, you know what? Now they're going to Texas because you know what? Texas is a hell of a recruiting place like Florida. And guess where big-time schools like Ohio State and Alabama recruit from? Florida, Texas, Ohio. And that's where Indiana is moving to. It's hard to break in, but they've done it. They're in. They're not landing 5 stars in these places, but they're getting kids. And you've broken the ice.